All right, back here at the hotel after another day at the NFL Combine here in Indianapolis. And, of course, we're going to talk some Eagles right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. And what I want to talk about over the next several minutes, the Eagles have made re-signing linebacker Zack Baun a priority, according to some of the buzz here at the NFL Combine. And the talk of the Combine, in addition to a lot of the draft prospects who are getting ready for April's 2025 NFL Draft, teams across the NFL, some of them at least, want the tush push brotherly shove banned. I have a lot of thoughts about that, and I thought Nick Sirianni's answer about the tush push this week and all of the nuances of that play is very, very interesting and fantastic. Before we dive in, we are 370 people away from 114,000 subscribers. Who needs graphics? We can get there with this video. If you want Eagles coverage every single day year-round, be sure to lock us in. Hit that sub button. Let's keep the channel hot because now the Eagles are Super Bowl champs and looking ahead, looking to defend that Lombardi trophy. So let's talk Zack Baun here. According to Jeff McLane of the Philadelphia Inquirer, it's the Eagles' priority to keep Baun and re-sign him this offseason. And I agree with that thought process. During my perfect Eagles free agency plan that we shot on the eve of Parade Day outside of Lincoln Financial Field, looks pretty good, by the way, with those 2 Lombardi trophies hanging up, I had said, I think that you have to bring back Baun, and I think he has to be one of the top priorities, if not priority number 1, for Howie Roseman as far as retaining a free agent on this Eagles roster. He was incredible in 2024 and one of the best value deals in the NFL. A classic Howie Roseman move where him and Vic Fangio found a player for $3+ million who had not played off-ball linebacker before in his NFL career. He was more of an edge rusher and a special teams player. They put him at a new position. He becomes a leader. He has a breakout year. And he was a dominant player on the defensive side of the ball. First team All-Pro during his first year as an off-ball linebacker, a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, and really a dynamic player for the number 1 overall defense in the NFL. He became one of the Eagles' defensive MVPs alongside Jalen Carter. He controlled the middle of the field. And I think that we saw Howie Roseman really start to change his tune about the linebacker position when he was asked about that on Tuesday during his press conference here at the Combine, because Howie Roseman historically has not invested a lot of money into the linebacker position. But you look across the NFL, both now and in years prior, and we could go over player after player after player at that linebacker position who really changes the complexion of the game. Players who are high-level playmakers who really impact the defense, from Fred Warner to Luke Kuechly to Jeremiah Trotter and countless others. And the Eagles over the last couple of years, really since TJ Edwards, really for the first time in a long time, they found a player in Zack Baun who changed the feel of the game, who had such great feel, great instincts, and controlled and dominated that second level. We haven't seen a player play at the linebacker spot off ball like Zack Baun did in 2024 for the best defense in the National Football League since Jeremiah Trotter. And so if you took him away from this Eagles defense moving forward, I think there would be a massive void against the run, against the pass, but he's also utilized as a pass rusher too. Here's what Jeff McLane had to report. Been seeing him walking around Indy here for the Combine, one of the top Eagles reporters. He said, the Eagles have made re-signing Zack Baun a priority ahead of NFL free agency. NFL sources said the market will likely dictate the terms, even if negotiations are already underway. Baun has an opportunity to cash in, maybe his only one, to get a lucrative long-term extension, and has representation that will look to max out its client's earning potential. But Baun has openly expressed his desire to stay in Philly and play in defensive coordinator Vic Fangio's scheme, which he has conceded played a role in his career revival. Does that mean he's going to budge on guarantees, annual salary, and years? Yeah, who knows? It's unlikely, but Baun and his agents could agree to a team-friendly structure that helps the Eagles as they navigate an offseason in which they're slated to have 17 free agents and several other veterans who could become salary cap casualties. Just a couple of notes and takeaways from what Jeff McLane had to say. Baun is an older player, And so this could be his lone opportunity to cash in, number one. Number two, he's an older player who has 1 year of production. And so I'm very fascinated to see what exactly his market is going to be. I think it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $12 to $15 million per year. And I think the Eagles can afford that. And I think they should invest in a player like Zack Baun. Now, Howie, as I said, hasn't always paid up to the linebacker spot. But when you watch Baun in 2024 and you think about how incredible he was, I think Howie and Vic Fangio know this is a player who we can't let walk. And here's what Howie had to say on Tuesday.
Everything really is player dependent. When we talk about situations, it depends on the quality of play of the player, the person that we're talking about. And so you don't want to make any exceptions. Obviously, you have to have a vision of how you want your team to look. In the salary cap era, you have a certain number of resources that you can allocate, whether it's money or draft picks. And so whenever you do something, you're taking it from somewhere else. I mean, there's no way at the stage we are with our team that we can do something major without it coming from somewhere else. So we have to make all those decisions. But I think to kind of put us in a box and say, hey, we're not going to play, and I'm not saying that you're saying that we're not going to pay because historically we haven't done that. I mean, part of what we do is evolve and look at things and see how things are affecting our team, how things are affecting the league, and seeing our place in that.
And right there, you heard it from the man who will be making the decisions in NFL free agency. We move forward here. A lot of the talk over the last couple of days at the NFL Combine, whether or not the NFL should ban the tush push. And this started to pick up momentum when we were driving to Indianapolis on Monday, when Packers president Mark Murphy came out and said, yeah, I want it banned. It doesn't require skill. He cited the Commanders jumping off sides multiple times in a row in the NFC Championship game as something that was ridiculous. And there was a report before that. There was a team in the NFL that's pushing for the tush push to be eliminated, to be axed by the National Football League. And so over the last couple of days, I've kind of gone around and I've asked a couple of different NFL head coaches about the brotherly shove tush push play. Others have as well. You've had Raheem Morris, head coach for the Falcons, saying play should have been banned 3 years ago. John Lynch, former defensive player who was a bone-crushing safety, said, yeah, I could go really either way here. He is on the competition committee for the first time, and he talked at length about how it's so impressive how the Eagles have been able to master that play, but he did cite some injury concerns as potentially being an issue. Sean McDermott, this is hilarious. He said players are at risk. It should be banned. I think that's hilarious. You know why? Because in the AFC Championship game, the Buffalo Bills tried to run the tush push multiple times, and they failed. And it was a huge reason why they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they weren't the team representing the AFC in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. And how about this? Steve Spagnuolo, Chiefs defensive coordinator, said, through our tape study, we realized that Josh Allen always takes the snap and he goes left. And so they game planned for it. They stopped it on some critical plays that resulted in that big Chiefs win in a thriller. Mike McDaniel, I love what he said here. He's an offensive guy. He said the offense's job is to possess the football and to get into the end zone. And so I don't want it banned because the Eagles have done a great job of that in executing that play. Jim Harbaugh, classic football guy. He said learn how to stop it. Todd Bowles, former defensive player, he said something similar. Like, just because somebody has mastered a play that has become dominant for them doesn't mean we just have to eliminate the play in general. And then the NFL comes out with a study, and a lot of these coaches and GMs are citing safety concerns. We don't want players to get hurt. That's funny too, because literally on every play in football, there is a chance that there's going to be a severe injury. A catastrophic injury could happen literally on any play in the game of football. And the NFL comes out with a study that finds the tush push did not result in any injuries, a 0% injury risk in 2024. How about that? A lot of you who watch the show, you know my take. This play is unique to the Eagles. They've mastered the play. It does require skill. It requires timing, anticipation, brute force, and physicality. That's what football is about. Football is about stopping what other teams do well, adapt and evolve. Not every team has an offensive line like the Eagles. Not every team has a quarterback who can squat 600 pounds like the Philadelphia Eagles. So if it was automatic, and if it was 100% guarantee that the Eagles pick up a first down or they're successful anytime they call that play, why don't other teams run it all the time? Why don't other teams run it to the same successful clip that the Eagles run it at? Because they can't. They don't have the same personnel. They don't practice it as hard. They don't execute it as well. They don't have quarterbacks who are built like Jalen Hurts. They don't have offensive lines like the Eagles have. Howie Roseman called it's a healthy obsession with his team-building philosophy of building along the trenches. And it's resulted in the Eagles coming up with a unique play to them that they are dominant with. And I thought Nick Sirianni's answer to the level of detail that is included in the Tush push, how much work they put into it, was fantastic. And this is such a great football answer because casuals will see the play and say, it's boring. I don't like it. It's going to result in injuries. It's illegal. Jalen Hurts is getting pushed. But other people don't understand what goes into mastering the play. And listen to what Nick Sirianni said here over the course of a couple of minutes.
I think I've seen some of the stuff about what that it's an automatic play or, that it's not we work really, I almost feel a little insulted because we work so hard at that play. The amount of things that we've looked into how to coach that play, the fundamentals, there's 1,000 plays out there, but it comes down to how you teach the fundamentals and then how the players go through and do with the fundamentals. I can't tell you how many times we practice the snap, we practice the play, because it's not a play that it's easy to practice. There's different ways we figured out how to practice it. The complements that come off of it that can create explosive plays. We saw it in big-time games this year, and the fact that it's an automatic thing, that we work really, really hard, and our guys are talented at this play, and so it's a little insulting to say it's just we're good at it, so it's automatic. We work really hard at it, and you see it throughout the league. I mean, we saw it in the championship games that a team failed at it and ultimately didn't end up winning the game because of it. I watch every week. I watch every first and goal red zone fail every single time, and sometimes that first and goal starts at the 1, and you see the team not be able to get in because they're not able to do that. And so, I think that it's a skill that our team has because of the players that we have, the way the coaches coach it. There's just so much time put into it. The fact that it's a successful play for the Eagles and people want to take that away, I think is a little unfair.
Just a few minutes of some awesome football talk right there. We're only getting started with our coverage of the NFL Combine here in Indianapolis, still here throughout the next few days. When you're here at the Combine, you hear a lot of things, and we've been relaying a lot of things, a lot of information, a lot of discussions. Of course, we'll start to talk some Eagles draft stuff as well, as we've continued to do here on the channel, and that's why you subscribe. I'm Chase Sr. This is Eagles Now. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.